Check, check, 1, 2, check. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, it's 10 minutes to showtime. 10 minutes to showtime. Get ready. Opening ceremonies at 7 and jackpot barrels to follow. Yes, yeah, setters. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a couple minutes till we start our opening ceremonies. We'll have our Friday night jackpot barrels to follow. Opening ceremonies in less than 2 minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, welcome everyone to 2025 OBRA season opener. We'd like to start with honoring our American members and family. Please all rise for their national anthem. Riding from the Canadian Cowgirls is Emmy. Please, everyone, remain standing for our Canadian national anthem. Our rider will be Lakeland, our OBRA rookie rider. If we can remain standing and bow our heads. Lord, I might seem so little sitting up here all alone astride this mountain of horse. You made of muscle and bone, but together we're a team. Lord, with one goal in mind, to take it around the clover leaf in record-breaking time. Please keep my horse sure-footed. Let me hang on to my wits. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, can we have Matt and Cindy, our contacts here in our backbone of our Reach Center? We would like to see them out at the third barrel, please. That means you guys can't stand right up here. You got to keep on walking. And we'll meet you at the barrel. Can we just do a quick timer check again there? We just got the computer online, please. All right, we are good to go. So we're going to go draws 1 through 5. Edwin Cameron, A Dash to Glamour. Tiani Schuster and Famous MacGyver. Kayla Ward and Holy Foose. Draw 4, Haley Siliker, Rockin' the Clock. Draw 5 is a scratch. 1 through 5, you're up. Mr. Edwin Cameron, A Dash to Glamour. Turns made, 11 and 3. 15, 3, 7, 8. 1, 5, 3, 7, 8. Up next, we got Tiani Schuster and Famous MacGyver. On deck is Kayla Ward and Holy Foos. In the hole, Haley Siliker rocking the clock. That's Tiana Schuster and Famous MacGyver, 15-2-1-4, 15-2-14. Up next, we got Kayla Ward and Holy Foos. On deck is Haley Silker rocking the clock. Draw 5 is a scratch. Tractor drivers, that puts you in the hole. Haley Silker, Kayla Ward on the turn at 11 and 3, gives her a 15-3-27, 15-3-2-7. Up next, Haley Siliker, draw 4, rocking the clock. Draw 5 is a scratch. Tractor drivers, you're on deck. Draws 6 through 10, you're in the hole. Deb Oschlager, Winner Eddie, Janelle McMahon, Haley Ward, and Avery Grona. Draw 6 through 10, you're in the hole. It's still standing. Haley Siliker rocking the clock. 15-4-60. Let's drag. 15-4-6-0. Draw 5 is a scratch. Tractor drivers, let's drag. Draw 6 or 10. You're up after the drag. Deb Oschlager and GBA Robin Fame. Winner Eddie and Okies Wild Girl. Janelle McMahon and Daz Cold. Haley Ward and Noblest Gold Rush. Draw 10. Avery Grona and Eyes Royally Cute. 6 through 10 after the drag. All right, Warren's got the pen set. We're good to go. Timer set. Computer's good. Draw 6. Deb Oschlager, GBA Robin Fame. You're up. Draw 7 on deck. Winner Eddie and Oki's Wild Girl. Janelle McMahon and Daz Cold. You're in the hole, Janelle. That's Deb Oschlager, GBA Robin Fame. 15-271, 15-271. Up next, we got draw 7, winner Eddie, and Oki's Wild Girl. Janelle McMahon's on deck. Haley Ward in the hole. Draw 9, you're in the hole. That's winner Eddie and Oki's Wild Girl on the turn. 15-582, 15-582. Nice ride. Up next, Janelle McMahon, draw 8, Daz Cold. Draw 9, Haley Ward, Noblest Gold Rush is on deck. Avery Grona and Eyes Royally Cute. Avery, you're in the hole. Janelle McMahon and Daz Cold. 16-187, 16-187. Up next, we got draw 9. Draw 9, Haley Ward, Noblest Gold Rush. Draw 10, Avery Groen and Eyes Royally Cute. You're on deck. Tractor drivers, you're in the hole. Haley Ward, Noblest Gold Rush. 15-670, 15670. Up next, draw 10, Avery Grona, Eyes Royally Cute. Tractor drivers on deck, draws 11 through 15, you're in the hole. 11 through 15 in the hole. Avery Grona and Eyes Royally Cute. 16-565. Let's drag. 16-565. After the drag, we're looking for Mateo Catulli, Harper Lee, Faith Lewis. Draw 14's a scratch. Draw 15, Stacy Van Loon. Draws 11 through 15 after the drag. All right, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, here we go. Draw 11. Timer set. Computer's good to go. Matteo Catulli, Flawless Frenchman. After Matteo, Harper Lee and Hang Tight Honey. In the hole, Faith Lewis, draw 13, and Gunner. That's Matteo Catulli on the turn with Flawless Frenchman. Would have been a 15-6-6-2. Barrel down, no time. Hold on the pattern. All right, looks like we're good to go. Harper Lee, draw 12. Hang tight, honey. You're up. Faith Lewis and Gunners on deck. Draw 14's a scratch. 15, Stacy Van Lunen, NS Hancock's Dixie. Stacy, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, off pattern, no time. Would have been a 19-9-61. Up next, we got draw 13. We're looking for Faith Lewis and Gunner. Draw 14 is a scratch. Draw 15, you're on deck. Stacy Van Loon and Ennis Hancock's Dixie. Tractor drivers, you're in the hole. That's Faith Lewis and Gunner. 15-9-09. 15-9-09. Draw 14 is a scratch. Draw 15, Stacy Van Lunen, NS Hancock's Dixie. Tractor drivers, you're on deck. Draw 16 through 20. You're in the hole. That's Stacy Van Lunen, NS Hancock's Dixie. 16-3-22. Let's drag. 16-3-2-2. Unfortunately, it was a no time. Barrel down. First barrel was down. Unfortunately, Stacy, that's a no time. After the drag, we're looking for draws 16 through 20. Cadence Nelson and Fame of Odessa. Amy Fotheringham and Oz Flingin' Whiskey. Jesse Gallenlock and MJ Frenchman's Flit. Draw 19, Krista McNay and Streakin' for Perks. Draw 20, Alexis Stravanka and Cassie Classy Guy. All right, up next, we're looking for draws 16 through 20. That's 16 through 20. Draw 16, here we go. Cadence Nelson and Fame of Odessa. Draw 17, Amy Fotheringham and Oz Flingin' Whiskey's on deck. Jesse Gallenlock and MJ Frenchman's Flit. Jesse, you're in the hole. That's Cadence Nelson, Fame of Odessa with a 17-5-18, 1-7-5-18. Up next, we have Amy Fotheringham and Oz Flingin' Whiskey. Jesse Gallenlock, you're on deck, and Krista McNay, you're in the hole. Amy Fotheringham and Oz Flingin' Whiskey. 16-0-21, 16-0-21. Up next, we've got draw 18, Jesse Gallenlock and MJ Frenchman's Flit. On deck, Krista McNay and Streaking for Perks. In the hole, draw 20s, Alexis Stravanka and Casey Classy Guy. That's Jesse Gallenlock and MJ Frenchman's Flit. 17-6-26, 17-6-26. Up next, we got Krista McNay and Streaking for Perks. On deck, Alexis Stravanka and Casey Classy Guy. Tractor drivers, you're in the hole. That's Krista McNay and Streaking for Perks. 15-8-03, 15-8-03. Up next, draw 20, Alexis Stravanka and Casey Classy Guy. Tractor drivers, you're on deck. Draws 21 through 25, you're in the hole. Alexis Stravanka and Casey Classy Guy. 16-8-94, let's drag. 16-8-9-4. After the drag, we want draws 21 through 25. Shauna Smith on Diesel, Edwin Cameron on VF Walnut Pie, Tristan Curry on PYC Success, Molly Farino on Mom's Extravagant Heart, and Renee on Let's Fire Bailey. All right, we're looking for draws 21 through 25. 21, Shauna Smith and Diesel. On deck is Edwin Cameron and VF Walnut Pie. In the hole, Tristan Curry and PYC Success. Up now, Shauna Smith and Diesel. Shauna Smith and Diesel. 16-451, 1-6-4-5-1. Up next, Edwin Cameron and VF Walnut Pie. Tristan Curry's on deck, and Molly Farino is in the hole. Molly, you're in the hole. That's Edwin Cameron on the turn. VF Walnut Pie. Would have been a 15-291. Unfortunately, no time. Hold on the pattern. All right, looks like we're good to go, Brett. Tristan Curry and PYC Success. You're up. Molly Farino and Mom's Extravagant Hearts on deck. And Renee Dykeman on Let's Fire Bailey. Renee, you're in the hole. Tristan Curry, PYC Success, 16-388, 1-6-388. Up next, we got Molly Farino and Mom's Extravagant Heart. Renee's on deck with Let's Fire Bailey. Tractor drivers, you're in the hole. That's Molly Farino and Mom's Extravagant Heart. 35-243, 35-243. Up next, we got draw 25. Renee with Let's Fire Bailey. Tractor drivers on deck, 26 through 30. You're in the hole. Brooklyn. Renee with Let's Fire Bailey. Draw 25. Here she comes. Tractor drivers on deck, 26 through 30 in the hole. Renee with Let's Fire Bailey with a 15-4-4-7. Let's drag. 15-4-4-7. After the drag, we got Brooklyn, Janya, Tiani, Lindsay, and Gerard Bernauer. 26 through 30 after the drag. All right, looks like we're good to go. Timer set, computer set. Draw 26, Brooklyn Gooden and Sun Vision. You're up. 27, Jania McNulty and SWR SDB Bonnie Spark. On deck, Tiana Schuster and King of the Winds is in the hole. Turns made for Brooklyn on Sun Vision, 20.723. 20.723. Up next, we got Jania and SWR SDB Bonnie Spark. Tiani, you're on deck, and Lindsay Medlin, you're in the hole. Jania with SWR SDB Bonnie Spark, 16009. 16009. Tiani Schuster and King of the Winds, you're up. Draw 28. Draw 29 is Lindsay Medlin and Frenchie's Got Famous. And in the hole is Gerard Bernauer and Royal Dashing Jewel. As on the turn, Tiani, 15-4-19, 15419. Up next, we've got Lindsay Medlin and Frenchie Got Famous. On deck, Gerard Bernauer and Royal Dashing Jewel. Tractor drivers, you're in the hole. That's Lindsay Medlin and Frenchie Got Famous. 15-4-15. 15-4-15. Up next, we got draw 30. We're looking for Gerard Bernauer and Royal Dashing Jewel. Tractor drivers on deck. Draws 31 through 35 in the hole. Gerard Bernauer and Royal Dashing Jewel. 15-8-74. Let's drag. 15-8-7-4. After the drags, draw 31 through 35. We're looking for Jamie Lynn Drew, Olivia Rennie, Kristen Ward. Draw 34 is a scratch. Draw 35 is Tanner Barber. Draws 31 through 35 after the drag. All right, Brad, looks like we're good to go. Let's bring in Jamie Lynn Drew and Messino. That's draw 31. Draw 32, Olivia Rennie and Make Me a Scotch and Solano. On deck, Kristen Ward, you're in the hole. That's Jamie Lynn Drew and Messino with a 20.726, 20726. Nice ride. Up next, draw 32. We're looking for Olivia and Make Me a Scotch and Solano. Kristen Ward's on deck. Draw 34 is a scratch. Draw 35, Tanner Barber and Tell Her a Secret. Tanner, you're in the hole. That's Olivia Rennie and Make Me a Scotch and Solano. Would have been a 16.264, unfortunately off pattern. No time. Up next, draw 33, Kristen Ward, and he's a Sunfrost. Draw 34 is a scratch. Draw 35, Tanner Barber, and Tell Her a Secret. Tanner, you're on deck. Tractor drivers in the hole. That's Kristen Ward. He's a Sunfrost. 17,500, 17.500. Draw 34 is a scratch. So 35, Tanner Barber, and Tell Her a Secret. You're up, buddy. Tractor drivers on deck, 36 through 40. You're in the hole. Draws 36 through 40. You're in the hole. That's Tanner Barber, and Tell Her a Secret. 15,289. Let's drag. 15,289. After the drag, draws 36 through 40. Hayden Greenwood. 37's a scratch. 38's Kayla Ward. 39 is Haley Siliker and Kiss My Attitude. Draw 40 is a scratch. So 36, 38, 39. After the drag. All right, Brad, looks like we're good to go. Draw 36, Hayden Greenwood and Frenchman's Fuel. You're up. 37's a scratch. Draw 38, Kayla Ward and Holy He's Sharp. On deck, Haley Siliker, Kiss My Attitude. Haley, you're in the hole. That's Hayden Greenwood and Frenchman's Fuel. 18,978. 18,978. Nice ride, Hayden. Draw 37 is a scratch. Kayla Ward, draw 38. You're up. Holy He's Sharp. Draw 39 is Haley Siliker and Kiss My Attitude. In the hole will be the tractor drivers. Draw 40 is a scratch. That's Kayla Ward and Holy He's Sharp. Would have been a 16, 687. Unfortunately, no time. Hold on the pattern. All right, Brett, looks like we're good to go. Haley Siliker, draw 39, and Kiss My Attitude. Draw 40 is a scratch. That puts the tractor drivers on deck and draws 41 through 45 in the hole. 41 through 45 in the hole. Charlene Catuli, Karina, Edwin Cameron, Murray Watson, and Brody Marshall. Draws 41 through 45. You're in the hole. All right, that's Haley Siliker and Kiss My Attitude. Unfortunately, a no time. All right, let's drag. Draw 40 is a scratch. Let's drag. After the drag, we're looking for draws 41 through 45. Charlene Catuli, Corinna White, Edwin Cameron, Murray Watson, and Brody Marshall. Draws 41 through 45.
All right, draw 41, Charlene Catuli riding Royal Dashing Bully. On deck, Corinna White, A Bat Out of Hell, and in the hole, Edwin Cameron on Triple Fame to Go. All right, and that's Charlene Catuli with 15.862. Up next, we have Corinna White, Bat Out of Hell. On deck, Edwin Cameron, Triple Fame to Go. And in the hole, Murray Watson, Caraway's Tilly Lane. Unfortunately, that was a no time for Corinna White. Time would have been 15.877. Hold on the pattern. All right, we have Edwin Cameron, Triple Fame to Go. On deck, Murray Watson, Caraway's Tilly Lane. And in the hole, Brody Marshall, packing for a payday. All right, that was Edwin Cameron with a time of 15.417. Up next, oh, hold on the pattern. All right, up next we have Murray Watson, Caraway's Tilly Lane. On deck, Brody Marshall, packing for a payday. Tractor drivers, you're in the hole. All right, that was Murray Watson with a time of 18.738. Up next, Brody Marshall, packing for a payday. Tractor drivers, you're on deck. All right, we have a time of 15.28. Oh, 15.285. Hold on the pattern. All right, tractors, you can drag.
Draws 46. Draws 46.
All right, after the drag, we have draws 46 through 50. Liz Colford, Painted in the Stars. Megan Hendrickson, Let a Spanky Do It. Maxine Watson, Bar EF 4 Wriggles. Anna Dale, Easy Return to Rodeo. And draw 50, Kaya Lafreniere, Oceanfront Jess. All right, we're about to start with draws 46 through 50. All right, we got Liz Colford, I'm Painted in the Stars. On deck, Megan Hendrickson, Let a Spanky Do It in the hole. Maxine Watson, Bar EF for Wriggles. We have a time of 16.425 for Liz. Next up, Megan Hendrickson, Let a Spanky Do It. Maxine Watson on deck with Bar EF for Wriggles, and in the hole, and Dale, Easy Return to the Rodeo. $15.164 for Megan, and that's top time for tonight. Up next, we have Maxine Watson, Bar EF for Wriggles, and Dale, Easy Return to the Rodeo, and in the hole, Kyle Lafreniere, Oceanfront to Jess. Unfortunately, that was a no time. Time would have been 16.762. Hold on the pattern. All right, up next we have Anna Dale, Easy Return to the Rodeo. On deck, Kaya Lafreniere, Oceanfront to Jess. And Tractor Drivers, you're in the hole with a big drag. Unfortunately, and no time for Anna. Up next, Kaya Lafreniere. Oh, sorry, hold on the pattern. All right, Kaya Lafreniere on Oceanfront to Jess. On deck, Tractor Drivers with a big drag. Kaya with a time of 15.926. Let's drag.
All right, while we're doing a big drag, we just want to thank our sponsors, White Willow Equestrian, KC Farms, One Oak Stables, Multivisc, Equine, Print Shop, Tobler and Sons, Try Recycling, Southward Stables, Willow Creek Acres, Fitness Depot, Cedar Creek Farms, JW Quarter Horses, Equinity, Hoof Doctor, without your sponsors, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing today and what we love. Thank you very much. DPA Contracting, there's another one. All right, we just got a little bit to go left on the big drag, but we're going to be looking for draws 51 through 55. Ashley Nostad, Kiebert, Yasmin, Annette, Tiani, Emma. Draws 51 through 55 after the big drag. All right, we're just going to get them barrels set up. After the barrels are up, we're going to be looking for draws 51 through 55. Ashley Kiebert, Yasmin, Annette, Tiani, and Emma. Draws 51 through 55.
All right, we have Ashley Kybert on Namdas, Kiss My Crown. Yasmin, My Kitty is Blazing. In the hole, Annette Matthew, French Knickers. Unfortunately, that was a no time. Time would have been 16.265. Hold on the pattern. Up next, Yasmin, My Kitty is Blazing. On deck, Annette Matthew, French Knickers. And in the hole, Tiani Schuster, Wind Chill. All right, 15.465. Hold on the pattern. Up next, Annette Matthew, French Knickers. On deck, Tiani Schuster, Windchill. In the hole, Emma Woodcock, Copper. Annette with a time of 16.306. Up next, Tiani Schuster on Windchill. On deck, Emma Woodcock on Copper. And tractor drivers, you're in the hole. $15.344. Up next, Emma Woodcock on Copper. And tractor drivers, you are on deck. Unfortunately, that was no time. 16.467 would have been the time. Tractor drivers, you're up. After the drag, we have draw 56 through 60. Irene Wiles, Zippers Double Echo. 57 is a scratch. 58, Kristen Pyatt, LL Cash King Guy. Deb Olschlager, A Foolish Battle. Winter Eddie, Oki's Jungle Fiesta. All right, we're going to get started with Irene Wiles, Zipper's Double Echo. On deck, Kristen Pyatt, LL Cash King Guy. And in the hole, Deb Oschlager, A Foolish Battle. Unfortunately, that was a no time. It would have been 18.465. Hold the pattern. Draw 57 is a scratch. We're up with Kristen Pyatt on LL Cash King Guy. On deck, Deb Oschlager on Foolish Battle. And in the hole, Winter Eddie on Oki's Jungle Fiesta. That was 16.399. Up next, Deb Oschlager on A Foolish Battle. On deck, Winter Eddie, Oki's Jungle Fiesta. And tractor drivers, you're in the hole. And that was a time of 16.453. Up next, we have draw number 60, Winter Eddie on Oki's Jungle Fiesta. Tractor drivers, you're in the hole. And that was a time of 16.771. Tractor drivers, let's drag. After the drag, we're going to continue with draw 61 through 65. Janelle McMahon on Blazing Magician. Haley Ward, Sparking Thunder. Avi Grona, PH2 Darn Feisty. Mateo Catuli, Healy Falls Flynn High. Edwin Cameron on Little Sexy Cowboy. All right, draw 61, Janelle McMahon, Blazing Magician. On deck, Haley Ward, Sparking Thunder. And in the hole, Avery Grona, PH2 Darn Feisty. $15.809. Up next, Haley Ward, Sparking Thunder. On deck, Avery Grona, PH2 Darn Feisty. In the hole, Mateo Catulli, Healy Falls, Flynn High. $16.252. Avery Grona, PH2 Darn Feisty up next. On deck, Mateo Catulli, Healy Falls, Flynn High. And in the hole, Edwin Cameron, Little Sexy Cowboy. Avery with a time of 16.614. Up next, Mateo Catulli, Healy Falls, Flying High. On deck, Edwin Cameron, Little Sexy Cowboy. And tractor drivers, you're in the hole. $16.043 for Mateo. Up next, Edwin Cameron, Little Sexy Cowboys. Tractor drivers, you're on deck. $15.180. Hold on the pattern. Edwin's bell boot is at barrel 1. All right, tractor drivers, let's drag. After the drag, we have draw 66 through 70. Missy Kersey, LL Rockets Valentine, Faith Lewis, SQ, Playful Peppy, Brooklyn Ward, Cash and Sweet Revenge, Wendy Kelly, Fame of Flinging Houston, and Emmy Matsuzaki on Dash and Dutton.
All right, we want to thank our sponsors. We got Copperhead Dave, Equine Equilibrium Salt Therapy, Multivisc, Equinity LLC, DPA Contracting, Farino Concrete, Henderson Equine Services, Hepburn Trailer Sales, High Five Saddle Company, JW Quarter Horses, Lidard Law Professional Corp., Print and Sign Shop, Ross Towing and Transportation, Olivia Rennie Farrier and Equine Wellness, South Ward Stables, and we want to throw a big shout out to South Ward Stables too for donating our Straba stuff that will be. We'll be getting it out there to you guys. White Willow Equestrian Center, Willow Creek Acres, Alex Foster Ferry Service, Cedar Creek Stables, Cozy Coolers, Fitness Depot, Kayla Ward Equine Services, OCD Wellness, Bloomfield Feeds, Tobler and Sons, Try Recycling, Hoof Doctor, International RV Transport, and Healthy Horse Nutrition.
All right, draw 66, Missy Kersey on LL Rockets Valentine. On deck, Faith Lewis, SQ, Playful Peppy, and in the hole, Brooklyn Ward. $30.465. Up next, we have Faith Lewis, SQ, Playful Peppy. On deck, Brooklyn Ward, Cash and Sweet Revenge. In the hole, Wendy Kelly, Fame Fling in Houston. $16.002. Up next, Brooklyn Ward. On deck, Wendy Kelly. And in the hole, draw 70, Emmy Matsuzaki. $15.362. Up next, Wendy Kelly, Fame Fling in Houston. On deck, Emmy Matsuzaki, Dash and Dutton, and tractor drivers, you're in the hole. $17.054. Hold on the pattern. Draw 70, Emmy Matsuzaki. On Dash and Dutton. On deck, tractor drivers. In the hole, draw 71 through 75. 29.160. Let's drag. After the drag, draws 71 through 75. Lake and Wilmore on Dancing Gold. Kevin Hilton on Harley. Lisa Scarlett, Royal Dash of Shine. Kayla Ward on LLW Gambler Lady Bell. Haley Siliker, I'm a Sweet Talkin' Tie. All right, we're going to start with Lake and Wilmore on Dancing Gold. On deck, draw 72, Kevin Hilton, Harley, and in the hole, Lisa Scarlett on Royal Dash of Shine. $17.959. Up next, Kevin Hilton, Harley. On deck, Lisa Scarlett, Royal Dash of Shine. And in the hole, Kayla Ward, LLW Gambler, Lady Bell. $16.703. Up next, Lisa Scarlett, Royal Dash of Shine. On deck, Kayla Ward, LLW Gambler, Lady Bell. In the hole, Haley Siliker, I'm a Sweet Talkin' Tie. $16.496. Up next, Kayla Ward, LLW Gambler, Lady Bell. Draw 75 in the hole, Haley Siliker, I'm a Sweet Talkin' Tie. Or no, sorry, that was on deck, not in the hole. 15.327. Up next, Haley Siliker, I'm a Sweet Talkin' Tie, and On Deck, Tractor Drivers. $17.262. Tractor drivers, let's drag. After the drag, we have draw 76 through 80. 76 is a scratch. 77, Madison Francis on Darla. Sophie Chasen, Straws Quick Enough. Zoe Craig, LA Trips My Trigger. And draw 80, Jennifer Firth on Big Oaks Wagon Wheel. All right, Madison Francis on Darla. On deck, draw 78, Sophie, Straws Quick Enough. In the hole, Zoe Craig. $22.992. Up next, Sophie Chasen, Straws Quick Enough. On deck, Zoe Craig, LA Trips My Trigger. And in the hole, draw 80, Jennifer Firth, Big Oaks Wagon Wheel. $16.160. Up next, Zoe Craig, LA Trips My Trigger. On deck, Jennifer Firth, Big Oaks Wagon Wheel. And in the hole, Tractor Drivers. Unfortunately, that was a no time. Time would have been 17.285. Hold on the pattern. All right, up next, Jennifer Firth, Big Oaks Wagon Wheel. On deck, tractor drivers. 15.823. Let's drag. After the drag, we'll have draw 81 through 85. 81, Tiani Schuster, VR L440. Kylie Wright, Miss Dry Dash, Presley Candy, Guys Gypsy Blue. Chloe Campbell, DF Docs Keepin' Checks. Carly Gowling, Flaming Quick Flash.
Big shout out to our sponsors, Copperhead Dave, Equine Equilibrium Salt Therapy, Multivisc, Equinity LLC, DPA Contracting, Farino Concrete, Henderson Equine Services, Hepburn Trailer Sales, High Five Saddle Co., JW Quarter Horses, Lydiard Law Professional Corps, Print and Sign Shop, Ross Towing and Transportation, Olivia Rennie Farrier and Equine Wellness, South Ward Stables, White Willow Equestrian Center, Willow Creek Acres, Alex Foster Farrier Services, Cedar Creek Stables, Cozy Coolers, Fitness Depot, Kayla Ward Equine Services, OCD Wellness, Bloomfield Feed, Tobler & Sons, Tri-Cycling, Hoof Doctor, International RV Transport Inc., and Healthy Horse Nutrition.
All right, we're going to get started with draw 81, Tiani Schuster on VRL440. On deck, Kylie Wright, Miss Dry Dash, and in the hole, Presley Candy, Guys Gypsy Blue. $15.910. Up next, Kylie Wright, Miss Dry Dash. On deck, Presley Candy, Guys Gypsy Blue, and in the hole, Chloe Campbell, DF Docs Keepin' Checks. $19.240. Up next, Presley Candy, Guys Gypsy Blue. On deck, Chloe Campbell, DF Docs Keepin' Checks. In the hole, Carly Gowling, Flaming Quick Flash. Unfortunately, that was a no time. Time would have been 16.364. Hold the pattern. All right, up next we have Chloe Campbell on DF Docks keeping checks. On deck, Carly Gowling, Flaming Quick Flash, and in the hole, tractor drivers. $16.597. Sorry, that was 16.597. Up next, Carly Gowland, Flaming Quick Flash. Tractor drivers, you're on deck. Unfortunately, that was a no time. Time would have been 17.193. Let's drag. After the drag, we have draw 86 through 90. Edwin Cameron on the Gambler. 87, Kayla Lang on Black Magic. Janine Clark, Sun Kinda Sweet and Salty. Olivia Geisbrecht, Sparks and Spirit. And draw 90, Caroline West on Famasuga. All right, we're going to get started with draw 86 through 90. 86 is a scratch, so we're going to start with Kayla Lang on Black Magic. On deck, Janine Clark, on Sunkiss, Sweet and Salty. And in the hole, 89, Olivia Geisbrecht, Sparks and Spirit. Unfortunately, that was a no time. The time would have been 16.308. Up next, Janine Clark on Sun Kinda Sweet and Salty. On deck, Olivia Geisbrecht on Sparks and Spirit. And in the hole, Caroline West on Famasuga. $15.478. Up next, Olivia Geisbrecht on Sparks and Spirit. On deck, Carolyn West on Famasuga. And in the hole, Tractor Drivers. The time was 16.580. Up next, Carolyn West, Famasuga, and Tractor Drivers, you're on deck. $15.856. Let's drag. After the drag, we're going to head out with draw 91 through 95. Katie Wolf on Smoke and Hillary. Gwen Cooper. IB High Caliber. Rebecca Souter, Memphis. Ashley Gardner, Streak and Firefly. Madison Vise on Doubling Down the Whiskey. All right, we're going to get started with draw 91. Katie Wolf, Smoke and Hillary. On deck, Gwen Cooper, IB High Caliber. And in the hole, Rebecca Souter on Memphis. $16.113. Up next, Gwen Cooper. On deck, draw 93, Rebecca Souter on Memphis. And in the hole, Ashley Gardner on Streak and Firefly. $15.474. Up next, Rebecca Souter on Memphis. On deck, Ashley Gardner, Streak and Firefly. And in the hole, Madison Vise, doubling down the whiskey. Unfortunately, that was a no time. Time would have been 19.526. Up next, Ashley Gardner on Streak and Firefly. On deck, Madison Vise, doubling down the whiskey. And in the hole, the tractor drivers. Unfortunately, that was a no time. The time would have been 18.280. Hold the pattern. All right. Up next, Madison Vise, doubling down the whiskey. And on deck, the tractor drivers. $15.878. Let's drag. After the drag, we're going to go through with draws 96 through 100. Tracy Steves, NLD, Fancy Lady Hancock. Tommy G, Wham Bam, Thank You Ma'am. Willow Campbell, Clues Rooster. Sierra White, Hickory's Little Red. Haven James, ZF, Oto's Little Daisy. All right, we're going to get started with draw 96, Tracy Steves, NLD, Fancy Lady Hancock. On deck, Tommy G, Wham Bam, Thank You Ma'am. And in the hole, Willow Campbell, Clues Rooster. $16.691. Up next, Tommy G, Wham Bam, Thank You Ma'am. On deck, Willow Campbell, Clues Rooster. And in the hole, Sierra White, Hickory's Little Red. $16.375. Up next, Willow Campbell, Clues Rooster. On deck, Sierra White, Hickory's Little Red. And in the hole, Haven James, ZF, Oto's Little Daisy. $15.404. Hold the pattern. Up next, draw 99, Sierra White, Hickory's Little Red. On deck, Haven James, ZF, Oto's Little Daisy. And in the hole, the tractor drivers. Unfortunately, that was a no time. Time would have been 16.216. Up next, Haven James on ZF Oto's Little Daisy. Tractor drivers, you're on deck. 16.574. Tractor drivers, big drag. After the big drag, we're going to continue on with draws 101 through 105. Haley Cooper on Clancy, Missy Kersey on LL Sparky Dunnett, Mackenzie Finney, Smart Edijet, Macy McDugdale, Ann Smoking Cash, Mary McCallum, Plain Jane Riker. All right, we're going to get going with draws 101 through 105. We have Haley Cooper on Clancy. On deck, Missy Kersey. on LL Sparky Dunnett, and in the hole, Mackenzie Finney, Smart Etijet. We have 16.588. Up next, Missy Kersey on LL Sparky Dunnett. On deck, Mackenzie Finney, Smart Etijet. And in the hole, Macy Dugdale on And Smoking Cash. $16.337. Up next, Mackenzie Finney, Smart Etijet. On deck, Macy Dugdale and Smoking Cash. And in the hole, Mary McCallum, Plain Jane Riker. $15.878. Hold the pattern. Up next, draw 104, Macy Dugdale and Smoking Cash. On deck, Mary McCallum, Plain Jane Riker. Tractors, you're in the hole. $16.945. Up next, Mary McCallum, Plain Jane Riker. Tractors, you're on deck. $15.862. Let's drag. After the drag, we're going to go through with draws 106 through 110. Sydney Simpraga, Conman's Double Trouble, Glenn Sutherland, Eddie by the Sea, Taylor Gore, Okies Running Sharp, Caitlin Taylor, Arbin's Jimmy K, Taylor on CR Red Prince. We're going to get started with draw 106, Sydney Simpraga, Conman's Double Trouble. On deck, Glenn Sutherland, Eddie by the Sea, and in the hole, Taylor Gore. Unfortunately, that was a no time, 16.056. We'll keep it going with draw 107, Glenn Sutherland, Eddie by the Sea. On deck, Taylor Gore, and in the hole, Caitlin Taylor. $15.394. Up next, Taylor Gore, Okies Running Sharp. On deck, Caitlin Taylor, Arbin's Jimmy K. Oh, sorry, Taylor Gore is a scratch, draw 108. So up next, we have draw 109, Caitlin Taylor, Arbin's Jimmy K. On deck, Taylor, riding CR Red Prince. And in the hole, the tractor drivers. $15.964. Up next, Taylor on CR Red Prince. Tractor drivers, you're in the hole. $17.515. Let's drag. After the drag, we're going to go with draws 111 through 115. Dane Dugdale, RVF Arctic Contender. Lexi Pendry, KD Streak and Joe. Jesse Stratford Sodemans on Jess Bringing It. Trinity Galway, Scarlet Rose. And Christina Eilers, A Skips Fling. All right, we're going to get started with draw 111. Dane Dugdale, RVF Arctic Contender. On deck, Lexi Pendry, Katie Streak and Joe. And in the hole, Jesse Stratford Sodemans on Jess Bring It. Unfortunately, that was a no time. Time would have been 15.892. Hold the pattern. Up next, we have Lexi Pendry on Katie Streak and Joe. In the hole, Jesse Stratford Sodemans on Jess Bringing It. And in the hole, Trinity Galloway on Scarlet Rose. 16.605. Up next, Jesse Stratford Soderman. Hold the pattern. Up next, Jesse Stratford Soderman on Jess Bringing It. On deck, Trinity Galloway on Scarlet Rose. And in the hole, Christina Eilers. $16.006. Up next, Trinity Galloway, Scarlet Rose. On deck, Christina Eilers, a skipper's fling. Tractor drivers, you're in the hole. $18.847. Up next, Christina Eilers, a skipper's fling. Tractor drivers, you're on deck. Unfortunately, that was a no time. Time would have been 19.980. Let's drag. After the drag, we're going to go through draw 116 to 120. Brooklyn Giddin on Gold Diver. Natalie Clement on Who's Hot Now. Jenna Mergel, Panther Power. Ava Wolf, Doc's Double Boon. Samantha Hall, Artie Likes to Party. All right, we're going to start with draw 116, Brooklyn Giddin on Gold Diver. On deck, Natalie Clement, Who's Hot Now, and in the hole, Jenna Mergel on Panther Power. We're starting with draw 116, Brooklyn Giddin on Gold Diver. $21.594. Up next, Natalie Clement, Who's Hot Now. On deck, Jenna Mergel, Panther Power. And in the hole, Ava Wolf, Doc's Double Boon. $24.476. Up next, Jenna Mergel on Panther Power. On deck, Ava Wolf, Doc's Double Boon. And in the hall, Samantha Hole, Artie Likes to Party. $16.034. Ava Wolf, Doc's Double Boon. On deck, Samantha Hall, Artie Likes to Party. Tractor drivers, you're in the hole. Unfortunately, that was a no time. Time would have been 16.049. Up next, Samantha Hall, Artie Likes to Party, and tractor drivers, you're on deck. $17.510. Let's drag. On deck is draw 121 through 125. Tiani Schuster on Chalk Cliffs, Carrington Hebert, Twisted and Rockin', Mateo Catuli, JW Smooth Mayhem, Catherine MacArthur, He's a Sunny Sensation, Kelsey Boersma, No Cheney Frost. All right, we're going to get started with draw 121, Tiani Schuster on Chalk Cliffs. On deck, Carrington Hebert, Twisted and Rockin', and in the hole, Mateo Catuli on JW Smooth Mayhem. $14.556. And that is the top time of the night. Up next, Carrington Hebert on Twisted and Rockin'. On deck, Mateo Catuli, JW Smooth Mayhem. And in the hole, Catherine MacArthur, He's a Sunny Sensation. Unfortunately, that was a no time. Time would have been 22.142. Hold the pattern. Up next, we have draw 123, Mateo Catuli, JW Smooth Mayhem. On deck, Catherine MacArthur, He's a Sunny Sensation. And in the hole, Kelsey Boersma, No Cheney Frost. 18.352. Up next, Catherine MacArthur. He's a sunny sensation. And on deck, Kelsey Boersma, no Cheney Frost. $22.496. Last but not least, Kelsey Boersma, draw 125 on no Cheney Frost. $16.303. This wraps up the Friday night jackpot. The pen will be closed for watering and maintenance.